Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Think Future. My name's Calabucas, and once again, we're coming to July from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. We're talking innovation startups, the future. Not necessarily those, and not necessarily in that order. Smack that subscribe button and hit that bell if you like what you're hearing on the show, and subscribe. If you're listening on your favorite podcast service, please subscribe there and leave a note on Apple Podcast. I'd greatly appreciate it. Now, one of the things that's interesting about learning and education is that the models that we've had to date have been very one way. There's the learned professor or the learned TA with all of the knowledge, and then there's the students who know nothing, and they're expected to absorb knowledge from the teachers, from the lecturers, from the professors. It's a very one-way conversation. It's the smart ones telling the dumb ones what to know. And it can either be done verbally, visually, whatever. They impart information. And I've always thought what was interesting is that most of the time in these type of arrangements where you have one person just bleh information out, it's very rare, at least in my experience, that you get a really good one-way communication, a really good data. I mean, when was the last time you went to a webinar or a seminar or a class where you felt that it was action-packed with information? It was so action-packed with information that you took notes like crazy and you said, wow, I am really learning a lot during this session. I don't remember the last time that happened to me. I think it happened once. I think I went to a Bay Area Future Salon maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there I captured so much good information in this one-hour webinar that in all these other webinars and all these other seminars and all these other things I've been to, they all pale in comparison. And I realized that the major difference between this and those others was that there was more peer-to-peer interaction. I actually learned more from the peers who were throwing things into the chat than I did from the actual content itself. And I came to the realization is that this is very similar to what happens when I'm watching YouTube videos or any situations where people are generating content. Sure, there's many cases where people generate content and there's a piece of education there, and it's helpful. But a lot of time this information is full of fluff because they're either trying to build a personality or build an audience or trying to fool the algorithm into thinking there's more information in this video than there actually is. And it really is this tiny little snippet of information. So what you do is you have the crowd saying, go to this part, or here's an answer, here's another answer, here's another answer. So if you think about it, you're actually learning more from your peers who are viewing the video than you're actually learning from the video itself. So how can we better harness that peer-to-peer piece of information as opposed to the one-way piece of information that we seem to be getting nowadays? We need to do more of this peer-to-peer learning because there's always somebody, and if you think about it, people who are educators may not necessarily have the best knowledge or be able to provide the best education on something. Probably a practitioner is probably better suited to provide the best education on something. So how do we get practitioners to actually step into the education conversation and help those who don't know get up to speed? It's got to be peer-to-peer learning. So that's why I think that one of the things that we need to do to help disrupt education is we need to eliminate many of these certifications that teachers need to have and say, you can teach if you can provide this bit of information. Sure, that makes it a little more Wild West, but the reality is that when was the last time you really learned something? You really learned something. Did you learn it in a class at a school? Or did you learn it on the job? Or did you learn it from a YouTube video? Did you learn it from somebody who has credentials? Or did you learn it from somebody who has real life experience? Just think about that for a second. Who is better suited to teach us new things? Is it the professor in the ivory tower? Or is it the guy on the job, in the role, doing the actual work? That's it for me for today. See you next time. Until then, don't forget to think future.